So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you and showing you the main differences between a cool AI demo versus what's actually practical for most companies. So most business owners just want to save time, reduce cost, and improve accuracy. And when you're doing the demo, it looks good because everything works. So let me give you an example of some automation that I've built for the client. Now we receive emails. We're dealing with their invoices here. So receive their emails. Within the emails, the invoices and in PDFs. So we extract the PDF. We then set some variables to make sure that all of the information can be applied to the right CRM and to the right databases. So what do we do next? We upload the file, the invoice, to a shared drive, and then from the shared drive, we make a request to another system that takes that PDF and extracts the information we want. Now, this works perfectly each time. Why? Because it's designed to be perfect. But the last stage, which is the bit that processes the invoice, that is where the true test it lies. So if we look at the happy path is basically every invoice works perfectly, all the information appears where they ought to appear, and the AI is able to extract the information. But when you do a discovery, the discovery with a client is what actually tells you if what you're doing would work in the client's business in the real world. The fact is, these clients receive invoices from different types of suppliers, and they place the information in different points in the PDF. Sometimes it drops one line, sometimes it's on the same line as a description for the cost. So what do you do? Right, there's a couple of things that we've built into the automation that I just showed previously. So here, where we've got on the right hand side process invoice. Now, we deliberately extracted that from Make, which is the automation platform, into a separate platform in the back end. Why did we do that? We want a system that learns with every PDF. And then we provided a user interface where the client can see any PDFs or any invoices that have not been processed correctly or have raised validation issues. And in those screens, they're able to enter the information as to why they think the invoice was not processed correctly. They have a screenshot or download of the invoice they can look at and see what was extracted, and then provide a description as to what should be done correctly. Now, that information then goes back into the prompt and is fed back into the LLM. So we're automatically training the LLM as it receives real information. But just think about this. The demo would work perfectly because you're using nice, clean data. So on the left-hand side might be something you'd find in a typical invoice. You've got the number, the date, the purchase order, the total, and everything works. Now, in the real world, sometimes the AI might get this information and miss out the VAT. So this is a real world example. Misses out the VAT. We have validation within the solution that we built that checks that the total and all of the other numbers actually match. And if they don't match, that flags an issue. And one of the issues we found was that sometimes the VAT figure was not aligning with the VAT information, the VAT description. So you have to have things that validate the information that comes through. And we do that in this case in the slash process invoice. So that's what we do in the back end. And everything is shown in the user interface that the user can have a look at. And we have notifications that are raised. So in the real world, you want to make sure that the total does not exceed the purchase order or the information that they've received. You handle each PDF one time and not have duplicates. If there's a missing purchase order number or catalog number in our case, then that needs to be flagged, because then the figures are not applied to the correct customer on the correct fields within the CRM. And some emails come with multiple PDFs or multiple invoices. How do you handle that? Now we've got that within the code. And the final one is when the file that's attached to the email that we're processing isn't actually an invoice, it's just some other attachment that has been sent to the client. So you need to make sure that all of that is accounted for, and you wouldn't do that in a demo typically. So don't be impressed by the demo, be impressed by the discovery, the discussions that happen around the creation of the solution. So we want to make sure that all the purchase orders are matched, that the figures match what is in the CRM. We also check the database to make sure that the purchase order actually exists and is something that applies. You want to make sure that you verify that what you've received is actually an invoice, and handle all duplicates, check changes in bank details, and make sure that you have a way of handling exceptions and having the human in the loop is very important. So the happy path is very easy. So you intake email, you classify the invoice, you validate that the purchase order exists, you decide where to handle it or set to send the invoice for review, and then you route it to the correct correct endpoint, maybe to the finance owner or to the finance department. In our case, we built something that also emails another department with the invoice, whether it's when it's successful. So that's a distinction that you want to make between what you've seen in the demo and what's been handled. And suffice to say that when you're discussing with your AI expert or your consultant, these are things that you want to raise with them, and you want to make sure that you highlight as many edge cases and as many nuances as you can, and that should be captured in the AI audit or the AI assessment. So the key question is, would this survive when things are different? Would this survive when the human that currently does that job is not in the loop, right? And what are the changes that human actually observes through their daily work that needs to be captured? So that's all I have for you today. The main thing is an AI demo is not your real automation. AI demo shows you what's possible when everything is perfect, but we know in the real world everything isn't perfect. So if you need any assistance with introducing AI into your invoice handling or any kind of systemized, ongoing, repetitive work, do feel free to reach out and we can help you set up an AI assessment for your business.